Hello, it's Tuesday and I'm really sorry I haven't had chance to film a art journaling page in process for you this week. However, I have got a page that here's one I made earlier, as they used to say on Blue Peter, and I'm going to talk you through it now. I hope that's okay. It's maybe not quite as interesting to watch, but it was a really meaningful page for me. So here goes. Hi, I thought I'd come on and chat to you about my latest page in my journal, which is inspired by the film The Dig, which is on Netflix, starring Ralph Fiennes, and is a wonderful story about the archaeological discovery at Sutton Hoo of the Anglo-Saxon ship burial. If you haven't seen the film, I highly recommend you check it out. It's just my type of film. It's a simple script really, but beautifully acted and beautifully shot with lovely scenes of the Suffolk landscape. And we actually, inspired by the film, had a little holiday in the area recently, a few weeks back, and actually got the privilege of going to Sutton Hoo and having a wander around the actual burial site where the film is set. I'm not sure how much this is going to make sense if you haven't seen the film, but I'm going to show you my page anyway and tell you my thoughts. So a couple of weeks after seeing the film, I opened out this tea bag wrapper. That might sound like a slightly crazy thing to do, but I quite like using old tea bags in my artwork. This was a fruit tea, as you can probably see by the blackcurrant colour, and I opened it out and there was almost like a ghost print of what could be a ship type shape on there, and this reminded me of the imprint of the ship discovered by Basil Brown at Sutton Hoo. And I thought, hey, I'll do a journaling page around the film and specifically my personal response to the film. There is a moment in the film where this little boy, Robert, realises that his mum is very, very ill and might possibly die soon. And he's already lost his dad, and he says to Basil, who's down here, he says, it's my responsibility to look after my mom, and when my dad died, everyone told me that I should look after her, and I failed to look after her, to keep her alive. She's dying. And Basil very bravely doesn't dodge the issue and say, she'll be all right. He responds with, we all fail every day. And sometimes, no matter how hard we try, we can't succeed. And that's true. The futility of this little boy wanting to keep his mummy alive. And at that point, I had a real moment. I completely broke down. I mean, it's not completely unheard of that I would cry at a film, but this just cracked something open inside of me about my own feelings of failure around my inability to stop my own mother from dying, who died of breast cancer a few years ago now. And my own feelings that I hadn't even realised. I hadn't realised at all the responsibility that I had taken on myself to save her, to keep her alive somehow, and my feelings of failure around that. I'd never connected that word failure into my own grief, but when I watched this scene, it made perfect sense to me that I was carrying these feelings of failure, and that was wrong. I had to let them go. We don't have the power of life and death like that, but we know that God does. It's not our responsibility to make everything okay. He's already done that. God has already sent his son Jesus to die on a cross so that death no longer has a sting. Our bodies still die, but God, on the cross, Jesus defeated death, and he has done all that. It wasn't my burden to carry. It was Jesus's burden to carry, and he carried it to that cross and nailed it to the cross. And now he is the resurrection and the life. And I know that my mum has eternal life right now because she believed in Jesus. Another thing that happened while I was creating this page, see these wonderful black ink splodges. They came not intentionally, but by a terrible mistake of picking up an ink bottle, a bottle of Payne's Great ink, and accidentally dropping it onto our dining room table, and it went everywhere. I was utterly horrified. So at least 2 dining room chairs, which are a cream fabric, have been ruined. Half the table is now a funny shade of grey rather than a pine colour, and everything that was on the table got covered in ink. So it was an absolute disaster. And that's sometimes like what the mess that we make of our lives, isn't it? We all mess up, and that can be likened to getting these black stains all over us. But Jesus comes and he deals with the black stains. He takes all our sin and shame and mistakes and mess onto himself on the cross and deals with it once and for all, so that we can be free, we can be clean. All those stains are now gone when we trust in Jesus and what he did on the cross. And so, like Basil Brown said, we all fail every day, but we don't need to live with the burden of those failures. We can be forgiven. We can be set free because of Jesus. So I hope you've enjoyed me telling you the story behind my page here and hearing some of my thoughts about it. What about you? Have you seen the film yet? What did you think? I would love to hear in the comments below. Give me a like if you've enjoyed hearing about this page, and if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe so we can keep in touch in the future. Okay, God bless and happy journaling.